Earlier this week, we received new news about the upcoming Build 42 update and how it's going to introduce 3 different animals into the game, those being cows, sheep, and chickens. With this news, I've been seeing a lot of players discuss what animals they want added into the game, so today I'm going to be discussing that in a commentary. These are some of the most likely animals I think will be added into the game at least, just basing this off of realism and how well I think they would work in the game, along with a few animals that I'm not really sure if the devs would add right away, or they might be hit or misses. But either way, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of animals in the real world, so there can be a lot of animals in Project Zomboid. Remember to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy my Project Zomboid content, and let me know in the comments which animals interest you the most and why they should be added to Project Zomboid. To start things off strong, there's an animal that I've seen a lot of players request for, and that is dogs. Most people like dogs. They're one of the most common animals to have inside of a house, at least in North America. So having one around the game would definitely make sense, as we already find the dog food in houses and stores in the game. Different breeds of dogs could make the game very interesting as well. Just adding a dog would allow modders to do the rest, but I do think it'd be interesting to see a handful of the dog breeds be added to the game by the developers. Maybe some of the dogs are bigger than others. Other than just fighting though, there is a lot your dog could do for you, like sniffing out loot or secret stashes, letting you know when they're there, similar to how Fable does it in their game. And of course, in real life, dogs have an amazing nose, so it's no surprise that this should be incorporated with the inclusion of dogs. As well as other things like giving your dogs commands or having them let you know when zombies are nearby. Maybe you could end up jumping on one as it tries to lunge and attack you. These things would be really cool to have in the game and would create plenty of memorable moments for all the players. Now there is some in-game lore relating to the dogs, which I won't spoil in this video, but if you listen to the radio in-game or watch the TV, or just search it up on Google, you'll be able to learn and put together why the dogs are so controversial in Knox County. Next, for some of the wildlife of the game, I think it'd be very interesting to see the inclusion of animals like deers, bears, and then wolves and foxes. Firstly, let's start with the foxes. We know that we're gonna end up having them in the game, as if we leave our hens out at night, the fox might attack them. Now, we just don't know if this is going to be an off-screen event, like something that happens when our character is sleeping or out of the area, or if a literal fox is going to run up in-game and start shredding chickens, which you can maybe walk in on. It'd be really neat to have foxes along with wolves in the game, as it add more danger to the forest. Like, encounters with these animals would need to be done right, like how fast the animal approaches you or how much noise it makes. It definitely suck to just be constantly torn apart by wolves every time you end up finding one, so hopefully the developers will be able to work around a way to make the combat and wild animals somewhat reasonable. For bears and deers, there's a lot that can be done with both animals when it comes to making them an interesting part of a game as well. If the developers decide to add skills that relate to animals, which I definitely think they will be doing, a hunting skill could be really fun. Similar to trapping or foraging, you know, you could learn it from TV shows or VHS tapes, and the better and better you get, the better you become at tracking or say finding animal prints in the ground, leading you to where animals are. Also setting up some things like bear traps, such as the metal ones, or the ones that are scented, similar to how people do in real life. That would be awesome. Setting a bear trap and then coming back to see if a bear is nearby and then being able to take it down with a rifle would be really awesome. You'd then be able to say take it back to your base, harvest it for the hide and meat. You know, it would add a lot to the game. And the same goes for deer, and seeing as well we don't usually attack people, you can have a lot of things like deers crossing highways or standing in the middle of a street just to mess up players when they're driving. Or even just little things such as deers being near parks or standing on the outskirts of tree lines, and then when they see noise or you start getting close to them, they run off into the forest. Would add a lot more realism and make the game really immersive. Next, wouldn't it be cool to not always have to use your car to travel? And also, wouldn't it be cool to be riding on a horse, either shooting or swinging away at zombies, Walking Dead style? Of course it would be. That's why if we did get horses and possible different breeds, it'd add a lot to the game. One of the first things that I think of when it comes to horses though is, where am I going to park my horse? There's no way you can just park your horse outside and it's going to fight off a bunch of zombies while you're loafing about in a Louisville strip club. So having a whistle mechanic would maybe fix this. Possibly dismounting your horse, and then you could whistle to send it away, or have it travel to just like a safe location, and then whenever you whistle it back, it would come sprinting on the map over to your location so that you can ride it again. Along with this, I'd imagine it takes some stamina to ride a horse, just as it does in real life. I've only done it once, like 2 years ago, but from personal experience, you really do have to position yourself correctly at all times, and it gets really bumpy if a horse starts going fast. So for someone who's not used to riding, it can be pretty difficult. As well as traits like clumsy or maybe new traits could come into play. These could be awesome as they could directly target the animals or how efficient the player is with using the animals. Next, I want to focus on some more street animals, things that you would see in neighborhoods or in bushes outside and maybe even the cities. Animals in different rural areas, such as rabbits, would be a perfect addition to the game, as we can already make rabbit traps, it's just we never see the rabbits go into them. Being able to see the odd rabbit in the open world and possibly catch it right there would be amazing. As well as the possibility of being able to make rabbits for pets or for breeding, it'd be a lot of fun. Besides them though, I do feel like raccoons have some potential in the game. Raccoons becoming more active at night, say tearing up trash, or maybe they go into the houses which have open windows or doors in search of food, tearing up the house and doing stuff like that. It would add a lot more realism to the game and make the streets still feel a little bit more alive or overtaken by animals after all the humans have left. And of course, there's a lot of ridiculous encounters you could probably have with raccoons.
Yeah, they all love me, because I get the food.
Now, I've also seen a lot of discussion about birds as well, and of course I think they'd be perfect to add to the game, as most birds are seasonal, so if they got into the game, it'd feel way closer to real life, with birds starting to come back into the game during springtime, and then starting to leave by the fall. You could, of course, be able to hunt birds or set up bird traps, but maybe just a simple birdhouse would be pretty neat to make your home feel more like home, having birds visit your house every morning. There are plenty of different types of birds as well, say like birds like crows might be able to eat dead bodies or rotten flesh, cleaning up the streets faster, as well as birds maybe being in flocks and making noise similar to how Back 4 Blood had crows, which if you alerted in game, they would make a loud noise and then summon a whole horde of zombies to you and your location. This could be done more realistic. For example, say your character is sneaking next to a fence trying to avoid zombies, to which a crow on a fence pole gets startled, causing some noise, making the zombies aware of where you are. Or even with the crows flying up to the air, maybe if there's a few of them, it could be a very large radius of zombies that end up seeing the crows there and end up getting attracted to that area. And one of my final animal ideas that I have to share is the inclusion of zombie animals. I've seen a lot of people ask for this, and myself included would love to see how the zombie virus affects the animals in game. As I have no idea how it could work. I mean, most of the animals maybe either die from being eaten or partially eaten then come back to life as a zombie and be more aggressive. The possibility of having a dog is really cool, but in order to create that true I Am Legend experience, we need the dogs to have a risk, such as getting bitten and turning into a zombie. I think this would also encourage the inclusion of a few new gameplay features such as skills and possibly craftable or findable armor for the animals to make them more resistant to zombie attacks. And as the game goes on, maybe later on in the game it becomes more hard to find alive animals and you're only finding dead and undead animals, making the upcoming animal husbandry update very important. Imagine just playing the game with no zombie respawn and then having a goal to breed animals to repopulate the wildlife. That goal alone could take a few years, which would be really cool and awesome to pull off. But those are all the animals and topics I wanted to discuss in this video. I feel like a lot of these are good ideas and ones the developers are probably already planning around. But if you like this video, remember to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment down below, as all of that really does help these videos get out there. I hope you all had a good one though, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.